and continued through early insular Christianity. The largest form practiced in present-day Britain is Anglicanism. Dating from formed.
The largest cities in Great Britain by urban area population, not including the capital cities listed above, are Birmingham, Bristol, Glasgow, Leeds, Liverpool, Manchester, Newcastle, Nottingham, and Sheffield.
They're going to build it in only 9 months and expect it to operate right away. We're slowly... All those incidents with other company-related lawsuits, they should have learned their lesson. Fingers crossed.
Pete was in his kitchen. He was about to slice 3 green apples. He liked to eat fresh apples with cinnamon sprinkled on them. He opened the blinds so that he could get more sunlight into the kitchen. Now he could see what he was doing. He grabbed a knife out of a drawer. It said, on the side of the blade. The blade was very thin and light. It had teeth like a saw. The handle was a brown piece of cheap hollow plastic. He had bought this knife about 20 years ago at a county fair. It was one of those knives that were advertised on TV. It could cut through a tomato can and then cut easily and cleanly through a fresh tomato. You never need to sharpen it. The sharp edge is guaranteed for life. That's how they advertised it. And for Pete, for once, couldn't argue that the advertisers lied. This was a great knife. But it was also a dangerous knife. A couple of years ago, Pete was careless. He was rapidly slicing a potato and the blade got his finger. The doctor put 3 stitches in Pete's finger. Next, he was so careful that he didn't use the knife for almost a year.
A great inventor to be. A little boy is talking to his father. He wants to become a famous inventor. He's talking about some of his future inventions. Let's listen to their conversation.
Tell me. A God who knows what is in the mind of a person. I'm interested to have a gadget that could be used in the airport. This is to detect signals that a person might be a terrorist. I'm starting to do research on how it could be possible.
Well, that's a very bright idea. You can save people globally against terrorist attacks.
I'm also thinking of an alarm that can be installed on bus doors to protect the passengers from possible bomb attacks.
Into their conversation.
Hi, sir. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm afraid I left my keys on the train.
Right. May I know which station you stopped at and your seat, please, sir?
Right. I was sitting on the left side of the 5th row. I stopped off at Peterson's Station, Twin Towers in New York. At the back of the keychain, 9/11 is engraved.
I see. Wait a minute, sir. I will try to call the office at Peterson Station.
After calling Peterson Station.
Thank you for waiting.
Have they found it?
Yes, sir. A passenger found them and handed them to Peterson Station office. Now, I think you have to go there to get your keys.
No worries. Thank you very much for your assistance. You're a star.
You're welcome, sir.
Have a good day.
Have a safe trip. Come back if you need help with anything else.
I will. Thanks again.
Buying a cell phone. A man is at a cell phone store to buy a cell phone. He's talking to the shopkeeper about the model, the price, and the warranty. Let's listen to their conversation.
Hello. What can I do for you today?
I want to buy a phone. Something cheap that has a wireless application. A phone that is worth my every penny.
Do you have a particular brand in mind?
I can't decide whether to get a Nokia or a Sony Ericsson.
Why don't I show you some? It'll help you decide.
Great.
These are the latest models that are out in the market. and we offer the most affordable prices.
I've heard about these E-Series Nokia phones having applications that are very useful. I'm not looking for something fancy, really.
These E-Series are not far behind the applications, and you can upgrade and download new applications if you like.
How much are these?
The Nokia E-Series ranges from $300 to $350. Depends on the model.
Do you have anything under that?
Sony Ericsson's Xperia series phones are as effective at having the applications you like, and the prices just range from $250 to $300.
Not bad. They're quite fashionable as well. I would like to get this Xperia Mini. And what about the warranty?
This has your usual features plus Wi-Fi.
That means it violates a 1972 law against discrimination on the basis of sex in education programs and activities. The letter says schools must take steps like making sure victims know their rights.
Would say they don't want their child to go to college or school and have to be worried about being raped. And we are going to work with officials to make sure that doesn't happen.
One of those officials is Mary Mayhew. She leads efforts to prevent sexual harassment and rape at the University. Education Secretary Arne Duncan released the guidance letter in April. Over the past 20 years. She says schools are getting better at educating students to understand the idea of consent, or, put more simply, that no means no.
Between 1988 and 2000 was when we really started implementing education campaigns about what consent is. So we educated, the population, and that did amount to some degree of prevention.
Ms. Mayhew says the warning from the government to pay more attention to the problem might lead more schools to start or expand their programs. At the same time, however, it might also lead to an increase in reports of sexual assaults. Not necessarily because the problem has gotten worse, she says, but because more students will know their rights and be willing to report attacks on campus. Ruslan Ali at the Education Department says the government is ready to take action against schools that fail to protect their students.
Where there are violations, and in the case where officials are not willing to comply with the nation's civil rights laws, we will enforce the laws vigorously.
And that's the VOA Special English Education Report. If you missed last week's report, or if you want to read that 19-page letter, go to voaspecialenglish.com. And while you're there, tell us how schools and government officials in your country deal with this issue. You can also...
I don't think we'll be able to get back on our feet after the collapse last year.
Who would think that a country as strong as ours would be affected by this crisis?
The whole world is affected and continues to struggle. Stock markets have fallen. Large financial institutions have collapsed or been bought out.
Governments and even the wealthiest nations have had to come up with rescue packages to bail out their financial systems.
Looks like we're doomed.
Sad thing is, the people responsible for all these are busy saving themselves while the rest of us are suffering.
Do you think we could have avoided this catastrophe?
It could be, or maybe it's bound to. I'm not an expert, but media...
and started cutting his hair. He started at the back of his head, went to the sides, and finished